Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. This particular video is just going to be like a chit chat kind of video, nothing really serious, very serious though, something very sensitive. Yes, guys. So a friend of mine called me and she was just talking about how her boss has been giving her a lot of stress at work, how she's finding it so difficult dealing with him and everything. So this my friend is someone that just relocated to this town and has started a job just like 3 months now. And she's been complaining about the boss like seriously. So yesterday she called me and she was like, she's the boss asked her to make a coffee for him, sorry. And she was sounded so angry. She was like, why would she make coffee for her boss? That wasn't her job description. So she said she was going to ask the boss today. And when she got to the office today, she went to confront the man, like approach the man, and legitly this man brought out a copy of her offer letter and asked her to read a particular statement in the letter, and that stated that it was actually her job description to take care of his office and serve him coffee. Like whoever that was occupying that position that she is in now is the person's responsibility to do that. And she was shocked. Yeah, she called me and she said everything. I was like, okay, you fall under one of these people because a lot of us have this habit of not going through our offer letters. Yes, I think I'm guilty of this one too, because when you hand over my offer letter to me, I think the only thing I look to like straight, I look forward to is how much am I being paid monthly. And I'm sure that's what a lot of us do. But I would like to tell us to try read every statement, look through it, read it and see what you need to do because this is very important, right? If she had gone through that document, she would have, and going through your offer letter helps you whether to really accept the job or reject the offer. Because if you see something that you cannot do, definitely you have to opt out for the job. So it's very important. So this brings me totally to our today's topic, talking about how to deal with difficult and crazy bosses at work. Yes, because that is the kind of situation that my friend is in right now, right? So dealing with difficult bosses can be so challenging because you're in a professional workplace, and when these things happen, um you can't just react anyhow because you're in a workplace, right? So it is expected of you to treat every action and reactions from your bosses professionally. Yes, treat them professionally. You're not supposed to behave like a tout, even if you're angry or something. Yes, so I've taken down to write few tips on how to cope with difficult bosses at your workplace. So number one is what I'll call maintain self-control. Maintaining self-control is very important. Check in your emotions. When your boss is angry, you don't reply back to your boss that is already angry, because replying back to them might escalate the problem itself. So it is advisable you stay calm, even when you're trying to reply, like, or maybe defend yourself or something, right? If need be that, if you had to do that at a particular time, do it with all decorum, do it with calmness, and maintain the professionalism that it's required of you guys. Yeah. So the next point is what I'll just basically say: document everything. Documentation is very important. Document all your interactions with your boss, document all your meetings, document all your encounters with your boss, because these pieces might be very valuable when you take them to the HR. When you need to address these issues, you need to bring evidence, because you don't just go talking without evidence, right? Good. So we'll also talk about the next tip is seek understanding. You seeking understanding is seek to understand the perspective of your boss and what motivates them to behave the way they are. Yes, before we are rushed to call our bosses or label them crazy and difficult, we should also make sure that we are not the ones that the cause of the problems, right? We should make sure that we are actually doing things that we are supposed to do. Try to understand the perspective where your boss is coming from. It shouldn't just be a one-sided thing. Yes, it shouldn't just be something you always, definitely it's an office. So try to understand what they want so that you can follow them, and probably that will help or cope your the way of interacting with them. So the next point is what I'll say: set boundaries. Setting boundaries is very important. Learn how to set, in fact, clearly define your boundaries, right? And always communicate um professionally with your boss. Some persons, like, I went to an office and somebody was calling the boss, sweethearts, my love, all those kind of names. Your boss is not your sweetheart. Your boss is your boss. Don't come to the office and start pretending or start behaving all friendly with your bosses. If these people means to put you in your place for them to get what they want from you, definitely they will. They don't really care about you. To be honest, they don't. So don't be all friendly with your bosses, and that will help them not treat you in a way they are not supposed to. Because sometimes you're too friendly with somebody, they tend to take advantage of you, right? So set your boundaries with your work, set your boundaries with your boss. This is really helpful. So the other tip is what I'll say: focus on your work, treat your work with, give your work your best abilities, give your work the best quality, put your energy in your work, and make sure you know what you are doing. Yes, this is really helpful, because if you know what you're doing, even a boss that is crazy or so difficult, the person will look at it that, oh, this person actually knows what they are doing, so they might likely not want to treat you anyhow, right? So the other point is what I see: colleague seek a support from your colleagues. It is very important. I'm not saying you should go all friendly with your colleagues. Of course, your colleagues are not your friends. In the workplace, you should be able to know the difference between colleagues and friends. Your colleagues are not your friends, but still, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to at least get someone to talk to when you're experiencing difficulties. It's possible this person or one or two persons in the office might be going through the same thing too. This reminds me to about a thing when I had the boss. I had this very crazy boss, a French man, a very old man. I think he was about 70 years. That man was so crazy. I literally left my job because of this man. He was really crazy. Like sometimes he could even go physical on staff, especially the main staff. Well, that had not happened to me, but it was so crazy, especially when you're working in a customer service organization like I was doing. You need your emotions in check. You just need all your mental well-being like in check, right? Because you have customers who will come and throw shit at you, and you just have to take it like that, right? So it was difficult, and I opted out because I couldn't handle it anymore. We had reported all this to the authorities and nothing was happening, nothing was being done about it. So obviously it was like the stakeholders of those companies were actually enjoying everything that was happening. So it's very important. But while I was going through those difficult times, I think I spoke to some of my colleagues about it, who actually also knew that this was actually happening in the company. So it's sometimes very important, so that when you're laying complaints to your HR, okay, have you discussed this with anybody? Yes, your colleagues are there, or the person you've spoken to is actually there to stay in for you, right? So another thing I would say is explore other alternatives. It is very important. You should explore other alternatives. By the time these things are really messing with your mental health and they have impact on you, and you know it's really messing with your job, what you should do is you should seek alternative measures. Like maybe you could ask them to refer you to another or transfer you to another department, right, where you could function better. And if that doesn't work, you can start looking for another job and leave the job, because you won't come and stress yourself over a job that is not worth it, right? Moreover, if anything happens to you, if you go crazy because of a job, definitely there's someone else to get someone else to fill in your position. So it's very important. Then the last tip today I would like to give you is legal protection. It is very important to seek legal protection, guys. Very, very important, because familiar with your labor laws. Yes, your labor laws and rights within your jurisdiction is very important. You get familiar with them, because when you know all these things, nobody will actually come and tell you anything. You know your stance, you know your rights, so you should be able to defend yourself even in the court of law, right? So remember that you have a right to a respectful and a healthy work environment. This is very important. Know your rights. Know your right. So while you cannot control how your bosses behave, at least you should be able to control your emotions, right? And take legal actions to help your mental well-being, because this is very important at your workplace. So if you have watched this video to this time, thank you so much for staying. These tips are basically just to help us to deal with difficult people, and I know you find this interesting, and if you do, please hit the subscribe button, subscribe to this channel. Let's create more content for you. Thank you for staying by. See you guys in my next video. Bye.